I'm Sean.
I'm Nick.
And Bill.
Ladies and gentlemen,
SaltValleyStudios.
This week's episode, we got out-of-state stories. Sex, drugs, rock and roll, and anything you guys want to add?
I think that about covers it, Sean.
Alright. Well, as you guys know, I was in a band, and we toured.
Yeah.
But for everyone else, I was in a band. We were called Artwork. And we just got signed. And we didn't have that much money. So we just had a 14-passenger van. Like, we were trying to get a trailer, but it didn't.
Oh, yeah.
It fell through. So we took out one of the back seats and hauled all our gear. So the next 2 or 3 weeks, we were going to be sleeping in that van.
Right.
And a tour secret is you park at Walmart's because it's 24/7. This was before COVID.
Right.
So
I feel like Walmart's that's where you go if you need to stay the night somewhere and you won't be bothered.
yeah,
You won't get
Yeah.
kicked out of the
a
parking
little
lot.
safer too. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
You can go in, use the bathroom. But anyways, this whole tour was all East Coast. We live in Utah, so we had to drive all the way out to South Carolina. That was our first show.
Hmm.
We drive all the way out there, played a few shows. We make our way to St. Louis. And at that time, it's just a very bad place. Like, #1 murder capital of United States. I
Yeah.
think at that time.
Great place to start a tour.
So we get to St. Louis and we're like, okay, we need to get some gas. We're like 30 miles away from our venue that we need to get to. So we pull out the exit and this place looks bad. Like, if you were caught there at night, you probably wouldn't make it out. So we get there, we see this gas station. It's pretty popular. There's other people. And we go fill up, get some drinks and stuff. And then this guy starts walking up to us.
Uh-oh.
And yeah, immediately we're like, oh, great. He comes up, he's trying to make small talk and like, oh, you guys travel for work and everything? And we're like, yeah, we're in a band. And like, there was a sparkle in his eye when he heard band. He's like thinking like, you guys must want some drugs.
Yeah.
Opens up his jacket.
It's like
Not
a-
what you think,
it's like
flashing.
yes. It was like a trench coat flasher.
That's what it seemed like, but like a stereotype drug dealer. Like, oh, you want
Okay.
some drugs?
What do you want? Just some watches hanging in there.
I got the goods.
I don't even know what he had, but there was pills, there was bags, there was powder of some sorts. And we're
Maybe
like,
it was all
oh,
just a bunch of candy. A bunch of crushed up sweet tarts or something.
who knows? But I was freaking out. I was like, oh, great, here we go, you know? So we made an excuse of like just anything of like, oh, no, we're good. We're just going to go. We got to go.
Yeah.
So we end up leaving that place, play the show there. It went fine. And it's like 2 a.m. when we finished the show, got all packed up. And we had a long drive. So we're like, let's just kind of find the next Walmart and sleep in the parking lot.
Shout out to Walmart, by the way.
But anyways, we get there. And at this point, we're like a week in. So the sleeping arrangement was awful. Like, our bass player had this big amp that I slept on behind the seat.
Right.
Someone slept on the bench seat, and then below him was another person. And then in the front seats, you had to recline the seat all the way back to sleep.
It sounds like there's a lot of farts caught up in one area.
Oh my gosh.
Probably. it probably smelled bad. But when you're in it and you get used to
That's
the
a
smell.
band
Yeah.
smell, man.
Yeah.
It's all part of
It's
this.
the way of the road.
But anyways, it was just awful. So when we're in St. Louis at the Walmart, I guess our drummer got sick of trying to be in that reclined seat. He gets out, goes underneath the van in his comforter and blanket.
Sounds safe.
And we're like, okay, whatever, you do you. And then we wake up, me and the singer go inside a Walmart to use the bathroom. And as we're walking out of the bathroom, this lady's rushing in, being like, oh my God, someone's dead underneath the van. And we're just like, oh no.
Not again.
So we had to run over there. They already had cops walking towards them. So we're like, oh, great. So we had to explain, like, oh, he's fine. He's just sleeping.
You knew he was alive though.
Yeah. Well, He told us he was going under there. We woke up, went to Walmart.
He hasn't moved
So
in
he's
a
still
while,
under
but
there.
we're pretty sure he's still alive.
If he wasn't, we would be screwed.
Yeah.
But anyways, so we go out there. He's fine. We explain everything. Like, okay, like just get out of here. You guys should not be here. Like, it was a rough place. So like, okay, got
That's
in the
probably why
van.
no one messed with you guys, because they're like, that van's already taken. Look at that guy under there.
Yeah.
That's a long van, you know.
Well, not to mention the van looks like a drug den, you know? it's one van with 5 dudes. Windows are covered.
I can only lead to 2 things.
Anyways, after that show, we made our way up to Kansas and we met the coolest lady. She was a little older. She's like 45, you know, upper
Yeah.
40s.
So where we're gonna be soon.
Very soon. But anyways, she was the coolest lady. She bought us IHOP after the show at like 1 a.m. And we hung out a little bit. And then she's like, oh, by the way, I have a surprise for you guys. And then
Uh-oh.
pulls out.
Was she wearing a trench coat too?
Thankfully, no. But she hands us the 2 like receipts to a really nice hotel.
Yeah.
She got us 2 rooms, and it's like a 5-star hotel.
Huh.
You get breakfast in the morning, you know, all the shenanigans. We're
No
pampered.
Motel 6 and cheap, trashy.
No cockroaches climbing on the walls.
You had the pool. We had a hot tub that we can go chill out before we slept. And me and the bass player slept in one of the rooms. They slept in the other room. So what happened in that room, I don't know.
But we could assume.
It probably got wild fun, you know?
Yeah.
Let's just say everything wasn't for free.
Just like I did you guys a favor.
But anyways, we met a lot of cool people, like people you would expect, like are just there for the show. But to hear like they came out just for you, it was the coolest
Yeah,
experience.
I
Like
bet.
fan art, we're like, oh yeah, we'll sign your stuff, you know?
Well, especially
Yeah.
being from here and like going back east, like
Yeah.
like hearing about you. And I know you're signed and everything, so you would expect people to know about you guys.
Yeah. Like we live in Utah, so we're far from home.
Oh yeah.
So we met a lot of interesting people. And anyways, the last show was in Atlanta.
Hmm.
And after that show, we had 4 days off until we had a Halloween show we had to play in Michigan. So after the Atlanta show, we drove up to Michigan and we had like 4 to 3 days. I think we made it in one trip. Like we drove all night. And our drummer had a timeshare. Like his parents had a timeshare at a nice place.
Yeah.
He let us go over there and visit and be like, oh yeah, this is gonna be sick. We could all sleep.
We can actually sleep and shower.
Like there's a living room and then a separate room. There's a bedroom, a bathroom. So we're like, oh, this is gonna be sick. And find out like his girlfriend flew out to meet him. And so we're like, oh, okay.
That's
like
nice,
we see.
yeah.
We see where we stand.
Well,
It's nice for him.
yeah, like we get it. Like we'll give you a day or 2. Like we'll be nice, you know. We'll sleep in the van.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I think he stayed at the hotel with her. We drove to Walmart because we were
You
gonna.
couldn't even stay in the hotel parking lot. He made you guys go to Walmart.
He's sending you back to Walmart.
Well, it was a nice place. Like they have security driving around, so they would have kicked us out immediately.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but don't you get like a 1 free parking lot? That's my car, man.
One car, there's 5 dudes here. They're sleeping in the van.
They're like, we see this all the time.
But anyways, we went to the Walmart and they had like a fast track or whatever to get like oil change and stuff. So we waited there, made an appointment to get an oil change just to be on top of it. And we were there for like 5 minutes just waiting for our appointment. And a SWAT team of cops come raiding the van.
Just like as you guys are like in line.
We're not like in line. We're in the
Okay.
parking lot. Just
Okay.
we had like 30 minutes before we had to drive over.
Yeah.
And these cops just come squealing tires in. And they get out, guns drawn, by the way, yelling at us like, get out of the van. And immediately we're just like, what the fuck? So we get out, hands up,
Pants down.
pants. Some people had pants down. We were trying to get comfy. But not to mention, like, our bass player has these, like, blackouts. But it's so weird, because if you don't know him, you won't know what's happening. because he'll be in like this autopilot mode and he'll just do random stuff. He'll wander off. He'll go behind a counter or something.
Yeah.
So we were scared that was going to trigger him.
Oh my, she starts wandering off.
Yeah,
The cops are
or do something.
drawn. Guns drawn.
So we're sitting there like, oh, he might black out or whatever. We're trying to explain it, and the cops are
Shut up! Shut up!
get on your knees. But we're out there freaking out, and then they finally they listened to us. They're pretty cool after that. Like, luckily we didn't have to tear out the van. Like, we told them like, oh, we're just a touring band from Utah. Like, this ain't a drug van.
Be like, oh, Utah. That's all you had to say.
We know you're clean.
That brings up another story I'll bring up. But anyways, so they let us go, and I did remember that we had a bunch of like empty beer cans and stuff in the back, but luckily it was covered.
Yeah.
And the cop didn't make us pull stuff out. And then he's like, oh, what band are you guys? We show him the band. He was really cool. So anyways, we had to deal with that. So after that, we were like, fuck that. We're not sleeping in the van. We're going to splurge. And the money we made from merch and stuff, we'll buy a cheap hotel.
All right. Well, did you get an oil change? That's enough.
I know. Did you guys miss your appointment and you didn't get the oil change?
We did get the oil change.
Oh, okay, good.
Oil change, got the van checked
So
out.
all
It was
taken care of.
running good. So we're like, yeah, fuck that. We're going to get a hotel. And we actually met this other girl that messaged our singer. It was like, hey, you guys are in town. Like, I want to meet you guys. So like, okay, cool. She came over to the hotel, bought us like pizza and stuff. And I don't know what happened in the hotel. Well, okay.
Well, were
I
you
do-
in the
okay.
hotel?
I was debating on telling the story.
You got me a pizza. I'm like, this is my kind of girl.
There was, I can't remember her name. I wouldn't say it anyways, but we're all sleeping in the hotel. She's sleeping in the room with our singer, and
Uh-oh.
this does bring up the last episode.
I was just going to say, you did have an
I
experience.
was part of this.
So it is a 3 out of 3. It does happen to a lot of people.
And it was like the time about when we're going to be waking up. So all we hear is this like from the bed. I'm facing away. I think I'm on the floor, and our bass player was on the next bed, kind of like facing me. And at one point I did look at him like, is this really what's going on?
You guys look at each other like, what is happening?
So yeah. And I guess we did just let it happen. Like, we're like, okay,
Yep.
I don't
See?
know.
See, you don't know what to do.
not
You're
that
like,
It
easy,
is
is
not
it?
easy, and I did not remember the story.
do you guys just
now.
jump up and start yelling at him? Like,
You just tell him to stop, spray him with a squirt bottle? I don't think so. You just lay there. You lay there and take it.
you just question your life and how you ended up in this situation.
You contemplate your every being trying to figure out what to do with the next 5 minutes of your life.
I can't believe I forgot that story, but yeah, I'm part of that.
You're welcome.
Anyways, so the next morning we're like, okay, whatever, you did you. You're a rock star, you know? Fuck it.
Take it to the van, man.
Exactly. But anyways, we kind of like confronted our drummer, like, hey, you know, it's been 2 nights. Like, can we stay with you?
Can we please?
You have a nice place. But that ended up not working out, and
I would have said, find your own ride home, bro.
he actually almost thought about flying home with her.
Oh, you.
But on the way to get home, we have to play shows to get paid, so we can pay our gas to get home.
So you have to have him.
So we had at least 2 more shows on the way home. And so he kind of just like, no, you guys, I just want to stay with her. And we were still nice enough to be like, you know, fuck it, whatever.
Yeah.
We don't want to keep butting heads with you. And so that was dealt with. And our show, at the Halloween show that we had, we were supposed to be on the main stage. And I guess there was a local band that knew the venue guy.
Was this the one in Atlanta?
No,
No,
this,
it's in Michigan.
this,
Oh,
this is
Michigan,
the
okay.
Halloween show. So we get booted to the second stage, which is a lot smaller and stuff.
Yeah.
And that other band got booted to like the main stage, like the last band playing. And we're like, okay, like it is what it is, but we were butting heads. We were pissed off at each other and the situation. But we ended up meeting a lot of cool people on that second stage. The bands, they were all cool people, worth it. And then we go over to the main stage. The main big band just got done playing. And then after that, people were leaving. Like, they don't know who this last other band is. And so they played in front of, 20 people? And we're just thinking, like, fuck that. Like, we were supposed to be there. And after that show, we just made the trek home, played, like, 2 other shows, had a good time. And then before that, there was to bring up that story of like, oh, you're from Utah, you know. There was we were in New York, and this guy broke down. There's a bunch of people outside. They see this guy broke down. He's trying to push his car alone. Everyone's just standing,
watching him,
kind of laughing and like brushing it off.
What a man.
Us being from Utah band, we go and actually help him.
like, oh, everyone park the car, everyone jump out.
Good missionaries you are.
But yeah, we went and helped him, and then we come back to the group and whatever. Everyone's like, oh yeah, you're definitely from Utah. Like, that guy clearly needed help, and you guys just laughing at him. But I guess it was good karma, because later, like that night, we did sleep in the van, and there was like a janitor for the venue. Noticed we were sleeping in the van. Nothing creepy. Just saw us.
Janitor.
Was he wearing a trench coat?
Just saw us, and the next morning he's like, hey, if you guys need to go and use a shower, because he lived right upstairs. We're like, oh yeah, hell yeah, that's badass. Thank you. He's like, yeah, I would have went to you guys last night, but I don't want to
In the middle of the night.
be weird with you guys.
You guys want to come sleep with me tonight?
But he was the coolest guy. It was cool. It's a cool experience.
Got a janitor's closet you can sleep in.
But yeah, Tori, it was a lot of fun. It had a lot of cool people, a lot of interesting people, and some scary moments. There's a lot more, but I'll keep it short this time.
Okay, so the bandmate, is he still with that girl?
I think so. I think they have kids
Better
together.
be. Better be.
Yeah, they're still together. The band, unfortunately, is not a thing. There's some series of unfortunate events that happened, but we had that experience, and we wouldn't take it back. Like,
Oh yeah.
I would do it again.
Yeah.
It's an experience of a lifetime.
Well,
for
who
sure.
gets to go on a tour in a band?
Probably not very many people. Like there's some bands that go on tour, but to be able to play in front of a huge crowd,
Especially from Utah.
yeah, especially from Utah, that was a really cool experience. Like, people in Texas are crazy.
Yep.
We had a sold out show, and I just remember the guy in the front crowd was like being rude or being obnoxious to one of like the hostess, like a female hostess or whatever. I don't even know what she was. But he was just causing a big scene. I remember like playing in front of him and like pulling out my guitar and like telling him to strum, just get off that girl or whatever. And he was just being a big asshole.
Huh.
Like, he almost caused a huge fight.
Take your guitar and jump down there.
But yeah, that includes. I'll stop there.
Well, geez.
If you guys have any
Rock
out
and
of state
roll.
stories.
Well, I'd also share one from Texas with you. It's not as epic as yours, and we never got swatted or anything, but I went to Texas with one of my last companies. It's actually the same company as the one I had another story with the last episode.
This company's on a good track.
Yeah, this company had some great employees. I'll tell you that. But so we went to Texas for about 2 weeks to help put in like fire systems and stuff for this big warehouse. And I never traveled to Texas before, so I was all excited for it. And I was like, hell yeah, you know, like I've always wanted to go there. Like, everyone seems cool. That
Which part
comes
of
from
Texas?
there. It was
I've been to Dallas and Houston is where we
It
played.
was close to Dallas. It was like a smaller town kind of in the middle of nowhere. Which made it a lot worse. We were staying in like Dallas or something, I probably would have had the time of my life. But we were staying there in this, it wasn't a bad hotel, it was fine. I just knew that we were gonna be there for 2 weeks, so I was like, you know, it's such a long time.
Yeah. Wait, did this happen before or after your other trip?
This happened before my other trip.
Yeah, with the guy wanking it.
So the wanker happened second. The wanker is what made me
So
quit
you
the
weren't
job.
worried about the room situation at the time. You had no
You
idea.
didn't even think about it.
At the time, I knew the guy I was going with. He didn't have the best reputation around the office. Like, I already kind of knew him. Like, I'd worked with him a couple times during the day. And, like, he's not the nicest person, but he's not, like, impossible to work with.
Yeah.
I was like, we can do this for 2 weeks. It's fine. I just want to go to Texas and experience it.
Yeah.
So we flew out there. It was totally fine going there. And I was like, this is going to be great. It's a new experience. And the whole 2 weeks we were there, he's just, like, a super asshole to me. Because I was kind of new to the company and like I didn't know that much, but they're like, let's just send Nick up there and like let him learn the ropes in this like super tall warehouse on this.
Throw him in the den.
Yeah. Never driven like a cherry picker lift before, you know, the ones that go like super high up.
Yeah.
And you're on this like little narrow thing that bends like crazy.
Those are kind of scary. Like, we kind of do that for our job. And I've been up in one before and it sways.
Yeah.
And you're high up
it
there.
sways way bad. And these ones were like 100 feet up or something, or like maybe a little bit more. Like it was a tall warehouse.
Yeah.
I think it's like a Coke, some type of like soda factory or something. But we were there setting up the fire alarm systems, and I was like, hey man, just so you know, like I'm not that experienced, but like I'm willing to learn. And he was
He's like, oh great.
yeah. He was pretty much just like, ugh.
So I'm gonna have to do everything.
Like, okay, whatever. And I'm like, all right, you know, like I'm willing to try. But so we were there and, you know, I'd ask him these questions and he would just brush me off like I should know these already. And I'm like, dude, I've never worked this like type of work in my life. Like, please tell me what to do.
I just
Yeah.
started.
Yeah.
It's like, I shouldn't be here.
I told him, I was like, I shouldn't be here, but I am. So like, I'll help you if you help me. And so we were out there for 2 weeks. I tried to pick up stuff. He was just an asshole the whole time, but like I was dealing with it. And the two main things I remember from it is number one, we drove past the Hooters one day, like one morning going to work, and I was like, oh, I've never been there before. Coming from Utah, you know, like our Hooters closed down like years ago, you know.
Did we have a Hooters in Utah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Used to be in Murray.
Oh,
Oh,
I didn't
yeah.
know that.
I always wanted to go there as a kid. Growing up in a Mormon household, never got to.
Every birthday. Where do
Yeah.
you want to go to dinner? Hooters.
So the one time I saw in Texas, I was like, oh, I've never been there. I'd like to go. We went there. Or like it was lunch one day and he was like, I was like, where do you want to go to lunch, man? He was like, we'll see. And then he drove me straight to Hooters and I was like, hell yeah. It's like best moment of my life. I was like, finally get to experience what Hooters is like. We walked in, there was like two girls working, and one of them I was like, damn, she is my type. Another girl I was like, I don't know if you should be in Hooters.
Which one was serving you?
Which one do you think?
The one that was my type was serving us. So I was thankful for that. But
Oh my gosh.
the food was not so good.
You don't go for the
Not so good, but
No,
you still tipped
you don't-
well, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I wanted to tip more. But we tipped decent. But yeah, so we were there. I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, I think I saw a cockroach in the toilet.
Oh God.
I know, but I wasn't there for the toilet, so I was just there for the food and the
girls.
the girls.
Or girl, I should say.
So that was nice. I mean, she's kind of rude to us, but she's really attractive. So I was like,
You can be rude.
yeah, I was just like, you know, it's my first time. I don't even care. I'm just here. I'm at Hooters. I'm in heaven. But
Sounds like a great experience.
yeah, it wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst. But I think we're on our second to last day in Texas, and I was super frustrated with this guy I was working with. I was like, he's been such an asshole to me the whole time. Like, I'm either gonna punch him or we're just gonna we're gonna be calm and then just like go home and be silent, you know, never talk to each other again. It was like second to last day. I was like, we're so close. I just want to go to my hotel and like sleep it off and we'll just have one more day. And we left the hotel and he drives and he misses our exit. And I'm like, Where are we going? Like, can we please go to the hotel? Like, please? I don't even need food. Let's just go back there. And he pulls into this just small building, just like kind of run down. I'm like, oh, this looks like a little rundown bar or something, It's like, I guess we could hang out here. He's like, oh no, this is a gentleman's club I come to every time I come down here. And I'm like, oh.
Did you find this on Craigslist or something?
I don't know, maybe KSL or something. But
The only one in town.
I like look down, I'm like in my like, it was super muddy out there, so I'm in my like muddy work clothes and like I look super dingy and I don't look like I'm there for a strip club or a gentleman's club, sorry. But so we pull in there, I'm like, hey man, I don't have any cash on me. And he's like, oh, neither do I just come here for the beer. And I'm like, what? Like, this isn't what other ones are like. Like, you gotta pay to come in, like pay at the door to come in,
Yeah.
And not that I've been to any, but
No.
so he's like, yeah man, I mostly just come here for the beer. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, that's fine. And he's like, we'll go to the hotel right after this. And I'm like, oh, okay, finally. So we walk in there and I was like, I immediately regret this. But I also didn't have a choice in it. So I was just there. And all the dancers, I was like, not trying to be judgmental, but like, this is not my normal expectation of like a strip club,
Yeah.
Like you see them in movies and stuff and you're just like, whoa, those are all of my dream girls, This one I walked in, I was like, this looks like a Walmart at like 3 a.m.,
Get some better action at Walmart.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, let's just get some beer. At least I'll have some good beer. So we sat down, we were just sitting there for a while. I was like, man, I mean, not that I want to spend it, but I kind of wish I had cash on me because, like, that's the whole point of being here. And like almost right after that, this guy walks up. He just kind of stumbles up and he's like, hey man. I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, where are you from? And I'm like, oh, I'm from Utah. And he's like, Utah? Where the hell is even that? And I'm like, we're in Texas. Utah is like over here. It's kind of shaped like this. And tried to like draw it out
You
for
pull
him.
out
Why don't you pull out a map?
Yeah, I was like, I'm not gonna
Let
pull
me
a
show
map
you
out
here,
on my
Joe.
phone or something. I was like, it's kind of next to like Idaho and Wyoming, and it's like close to those. And he's like, I don't even know what that state is. And I was like, who is this guy? He just like drug off his ass, and he comes up. He doesn't even know what Utah is, and he's like, what even happens in Utah? Like, what do you do? And I'm like, well, people hunt a lot. And then he's like, what do you hunt out there? And I was like, well, we have bears, we have like mountain lions and deer and elk and all this stuff. And he's like, what the hell? It's like, how do you have bears out there? I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, we have like mountains everywhere and stuff and like all this wildlife. I'm like, we even have buffalo. And he's like, are you kidding me?
Not buffalo.
I'm like, dude, where have you been all your life? You've never been to school? Like Utah, like you don't have to know everything about Utah to know that like there's like at least half the wild animals we have, Like
There's two things in Utah: Mormons and hunting.
Yeah. Mormons.
According to you. That's about it.
We got Bibles,
Bison.
Bibles, bison, and hunting. But I tried to explain to him for like 10 or 15 minutes, just anything I could about Utah to like flip a switch in his head to just like let him know
He
like
had no idea.
where it was. No, he barely even knew what Wyoming was. And I was like, yeah, about Wyoming, it's just this big stretch of desert. Like it has most of the animals we do, He was like, I have no idea, man. I spent most of my life on the road. I'm like, if you've been on the road
How
most
do
of
you
your
not
life,
know?
have you never driven through Utah? And
I don't even know where I'm at right now.
this guy was just like blowing my mind of like how little he knew about it. He's like, but anyways, he was just like, yeah, man, I'm like a cow herder or something. I don't know. Like he like shipped cows like across the country, and like sold them.
Yeah.
He like raised cattle and then sold them at auctions and everything. He's like, yeah, I make a ton of money on the road. I was like, oh, that's super cool and stuff, you know? Like, I really wasn't interested, but I was like trying to play along with this guy because I was like, I don't know if he's gonna stab me. And
Well, he's at a gentleman's club and he's more interested in talking
I know
to you.
he was pretty interested in talking to me.
Well, it sounds like his work was like, take this road and go that way.
Yeah, they just put him in a direction, tell him where to go. But so he's like, you know, man, I like you, man. You seem pretty cool. I don't know much about Utah, but people from Utah seem like they're pretty cool. And I was like, thanks, man. It's just what we do. But he's like, have you gotten a lap dance yet? And I was like, no, I didn't bring any cash. I didn't even know I was coming here today.
Was he offering to give you one? You want one?
That's what I was half expecting. I was like, no, he's not bad looking, but
They got a handicap stall. It's pretty big.
he's like, you know what, man? I make plenty of money. Here's $60 to get you started. And I was like, no, man, you don't have to. And he's pulling out his wallet, pulling out like 20s to give me. You're like, yeah, here's $60. Just go get yourself a lap dance. And I was like, okay, we'll see. It was all in ones too. He was ready. So I just had this handful of ones. And I tried to refuse it because I was like, I don't even.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to go to the hotel at this point. And he's like, yeah, man, just throw it at the dancers or like go get a lap dance or something. And I'm like, all right, it's not my money, so I guess. I probably threw like maybe 40 of it at the girl that was dancing on stage just to like fit in, you know. Didn't want to do it.
How many people were in there?
There was like 10 people.
That's more than I was expecting.
Right, I know. I thought like you, this dude, and then your coworker.
It's like 10 truckers.
Just trying to blend in.
It's like 10 truckers and me and my coworker or something. And all these girls are just kind of looking at us and like seeing if we actually had money or not. And so I threw like 40 of the 60 at this girl on stage, and I was like, all right, I'm done. I don't really want a lap dance from these people. And so I went and sat back down. And I was like, hey, can I get another beer? Guy comes up again, and he's like, hey, man. I was like, oh, my God. He's like, how was your lap dance? I was like, oh, I didn't get a lap dance. He's like, what? I gave you that money to get yourself a lap dance. I was like, oh, I threw some of it at the dancer. You know, I just really liked her. And I was trying to like brush him off, you know, and he's like, you know what? Here's 60 more. Here's $60 more. And I was like, no, bro, like, I'm good. Just let me enjoy my beer. Like, that's all I need right now. He's like, oh, you know, I like you.
Was he getting lap dances, or was he like trying to live through you?
I don't even know.
They cut him off.
I think they probably cut him off. He maybe thought I was cute the way he was talking to me. And he was just giving me this money, and he was like, you know what? You need to get yourself a dance. And in my head, I was like, I really don't want to dance.
Because you told me you're from Utah, and he's like, man, he's never experienced anything like this before.
I am a good Mormon
Or
boy.
he's trying to like rile you up, get you going, and be like, you ever heard of a lot lizard?
Oh my gosh.
My truck's out back.
So anyway, I got this other 60 from him, and I was like, I don't even want to lap dance at this point. So I threw like maybe 30 more at like the next dancer on stage. Just trying to support their cause. Right. You know, it wasn't for me. Wasn't for me at all. But he came back a third time. I was like, oh my God, what do I do with this guy? Like, what does he want from me?
Where's your coworker at this point?
He's just been sitting in the bar the whole time,
Just
drinking beer, watching me talk to this guy that comes up and just gives me money.
Does he see him giving you money?
I'm like, sir, you know I'm not one of the dancers, right? He's just like, oh, I know.
Your coworker probably saw you getting money and like, oh, he's been going to the bathroom a lot. What the hell?
That was for personal use. But so I still had like, I don't know, like $30 or $40 left or something left over from this guy. I was like, you know what? He's probably just shrunk off his ass. I'm just going to take this home because he's not going to take it back. And he's clearly loaded. So I was just sitting there, like, trying to finish my beer so he could leave. And he came up and he's like, hey. I was like, oh my God. He's like, you get that dance? I'm like, no.
Should have just said yes.
He's like, are you kidding me? I was like, oh my God, just leave me alone. He's like, well, let me get my money back then.
You're like, I threw it at the.
I was like, what were you investing in? Was this money for me? Or is this money if you could like money so that you could like watch me get a dance or
That's
something?
probably that's what he wanted.
Yeah.
But then I
Was
guess
it-
why is he asking you?
Yeah, like was that his entertainment of the night? He's like, this dude looks kind of cute, you know, like I want to see him dance with
He
the
just
girl.
sits in the corner just watching.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I don't even care. So I just gave him the rest of his money back. And he's like, all right, cool. Well, you have a good time in Utah. And I was like, what happened tonight? All right, whatever. So I was like, hey man, let's go.
You're like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want any more free money at this point. And so we just left and went back, and I was just like, that was the weirdest time in my life at a club. Like, I don't even know if I want to go to another strip club. And it was a little wild, but it was a good time.
That was Texas.
And then we had one more day, and we fought. Me and my coworker fought the whole day, and I almost punched him in the face, and then we flew home. So
Nice.
yeah,
It's Texas for you.
that was Texas.
Oh.
That was Texas.
That was Texas, and that's also your job that you work at.
That
You have a
was-
lot of experience.
I know.
The two experiences are both the same job, but luckily I got a new job and it's much better, and my coworkers are not as weird.
Well, good.
All right, Boo, you got any stories from out of town?
Yeah, okay, I'll let you choose. We can do slopping in Vegas
Ooh.
or Mexican wrestling mask in Mexico.
I do like the sound of that one.
They both sound good. Maybe the tech or the Mexico one.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
the Mexican masks.
So out in Mexico, work trip, and so the whole company goes, and you say an all exclusive and everything. They got one of the catamaran boats.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So we did the whole day doing that. Well, so we're out on the ocean and they're doing snorkeling. I am not big on ocean. I'm okay. They told me there's sharks in there. So I was like, I'm just going to hang back. I'll chill on the boat. So there's a handful of us. Like some people didn't want to swim or even get into the water.
Right.
But for the most part, everyone goes and they're snorkeling. Well, so they're probably doing that for over an hour. So for over an hour, we're hanging out on the boat. And I always make friends with the staff,
Right.
Yeah.
They had lunch for us and everything.
That's free
like,
drinks.
I'm making
Yeah.
friends with everyone. And so good time. They had like a slide. So I did go down the slide a couple of times, but then like hurry and like swam back
Swim to the
as
boat.
fast as I could to the boat and get back on.
There's sharks out here.
I don't want them to get me. So then everyone like comes back and everyone's having a great time drinking. And so it had been a few more hours at this point. And one of the guys who worked there, he went and plugged his phone in and is playing music.
Yeah.
Well, it was good, fun. We're dancing. And then all of a sudden he changes the music and no one liked it. Like everyone's like, what is this? Like, you need to change this.
You're killing the mood.
Yeah, you totally killed the mood. And I became really good friends with his girlfriend. We had the same name. So, automatically you have that bond.
Yeah, both booze.
We both booze. So I was hanging out with her the whole time. And so I'm like, okay, like I'm going to go tell him to change the music. So I go and I'm trying to get him to change the music. He's just like ignoring me. And I'm like telling him like, yo, like we want something we can dance to. Like, we don't like this. Like, change it. Still ignoring me. His girlfriend tells me, she's like, just flick him in the back of the head. She's like, that's what I do. So I'm like, all right. So I flicked him in the back of the head. Like, listen, like, change the music. He was not happy. He like flung around like so quick, like yelling at me. So I'm yelling like, you challenge me, I'm going to challenge you back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm getting into his face and just like arguing. And he was like, he's a big dude. So he's like taller than I am and everything.
Yeah.
And he like raised his hand at me. I don't know if he was going to like push me, if he was going to slap me. I don't know what he was going to do. So he raises his hand at me, and so where we're standing, there was stairs to go downstairs, like below the boat.
Mm-hmm.
And I see him looking past me. So then he stopped and he's looking past me. So I turn around and I'm looking down the stairs. One of the boatmen, I don't know what you'd call them.
Yeah.
The boat people, yeah.
The seaman.
The seaman. I look down and he is at the bottom of the stairs with the wrestler face mask. You know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Nacho Libre, like face
Luchador,
mask.
or
Yeah.
whatever it's called. Like,
Yeah.
Luchador.
He's down there just looking up at him, just shaking his head. Like, don't you fucking touch her, man. So I look at him, I'm like, hell yeah, that's my homie down there.
It's like, Nacho!
And that's why you make friends with everyone.
Oh, yeah.
So then he like put his hand down there, like separated us and everything. So like got back, like it was a very like quiet ride back, like we were like all on the same like shuttle together, like
yeah.
quiet. And then as soon as we get out, then like starts arguing again and like yelling. And then he had the nerve to come up to me and ask me if I wanted to go back to the room with him and his girlfriend.
Oh,
What?
Yeah.
No.
I was like, are you kidding me? After you like raised your hand to me? I'm like, no, brah, get out of my face.
Oh, no.
He was so pissed, but his girlfriend, she gave me permission to do it. So I'm like, all right,
Yeah,
I'll do
fair.
it.
That's fair.
I'll do it. I'm like, take it up with her, man.
You don't like it, you take it up with Nacho.
Right? That's my out of town story.
That's
Jeez.
Yeah.
On a boat
Was expecting
in
that.
Mexico.
Yeah. Sounds like we found some places to maybe stay away from.
Well, no, you can go, just don't make friends.
Make sure you have someone that's into wrestling out there.
Yeah.
Bring a wrestler with you. Don't bring cash with you. And, just keep an open mind to what could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you need to, you can always stay at a Walmart.
You can always stay at Walmart.
Stay at Walmart, stay in your vehicle.
Yep. Don't sleep under it.
Oh, all right.
Well,
I guess we'll call it there.
oh yeah. Well, guys, thanks for tuning in and hope you enjoyed our little stories.
Till next time.
Till next time. See ya.